The morning began. Like any other day on Earth, cities woke up, traffic filled the streets, and the sky above was calm and blue. No one knew that within minutes, the sky would change forever. Captain Aaron Voss sat inside the Orbital Defense Command Center, watching his radar screen. He had seen many false alarms before, but today the readings looked strange. Thousands of blips appeared near the edge of the atmosphere. At first, he thought it was a system error. Then the signals multiplied. 10, 100, 1,000. He leaned forward, heart racing. Control, confirm radar lock. Are those satellites? The operator shook his head, eyes wide. No, sir. They're ships. Thousands of them. Before anyone could react, the clouds above Earth began to glow red. People in every city stopped what they were doing and looked up. The entire sky lit up like a sunrise made of fire. 10,000 massive warships appeared above the planet, their engines burning bright against the dark of space. The light was so strong that even at noon it turned shadows into flames. Governments across the world went silent. Power grids overloaded. News channels cut off mid-sentence. Voss stood frozen, watching the feed from the orbital cameras. Each ship was the size of a city. Some were scarred and broken, their hulls covered with strange glowing marks. They did not attack. They simply floated in the upper atmosphere, silent like ghosts made of steel. Then every communication device on Earth flickered to life. Every phone, every screen, every radio spoke the same message in every language. Do not interfere. The words were calm but cold. Then silence again. Panic spread. Some people prayed. Others ran. Military bases across the world went on alert. Nuclear silos unlocked, submarines surfaced, fighter jets scrambled into the burning sky. Yet none dared to fire. In the command center, Captain Voss felt the air grow heavy. "Why are they here?" he whispered. "If they wanted to attack, they would have done it already." A voice from the back answered, "Maybe they're waiting for something." Hours passed, but the ships remained still. Satellite images showed their formation stretching across the planet like a shield. Some hovered above oceans, others above major cities, but not one moved closer. Voss decided to try something no one else dared. He opened a secure channel and sent a signal toward the largest ship in orbit. A giant vessel shaped like a spear, glowing red along its spine. "Unidentified fleet," he said calmly. "This is Captain Aaron Voss of Earth Defense Command. You are in restricted orbit. State your purpose." For a few seconds there was only static. Then a deep mechanical voice answered, "We do not seek war." Voss stared at the console. "Then what do you seek?" "Sanctuary." The room went silent. No one spoke. He leaned closer to the mic. "You came to Earth for shelter?" "We came to hide," the voice said. "They are following us." Voss felt a chill crawl down his spine. "Who's following you?" There was a pause, then the reply came, softer but filled with fear. "The Devourers." The line went dead. Every scientist, general, and leader across Earth listened in disbelief. The aliens, if that's what they were, had come not to invade, but to escape. Moments later, the skies above Asia and Europe began to flicker again. A strange blue energy pulse rippled through space, distorting satellites and knocking out entire power grids. The alien ships reacted instantly, forming defensive patterns. Their weapons charged, glowing like stars ready to explode. "Captain," said the radar officer, "something is approaching from deep space." "It's fast." "Too fast." Voss turned to the main screen. A cluster of red dots appeared, far beyond the moon, moving toward Earth at impossible speed. The aliens above Earth began to emit a low hum that shook the air. For the first time, they looked afraid. All across the planet, people watched in horror as the red glow of the alien engines turned to gold. The warships started to rotate, aiming their weapons toward the outer system. Then came another transmission, not from Earth, but from the alien fleet itself. It was translated by the Defense Command system. "To all inhabitants of this world, remain silent. If you transmit, they will hear you." Voss's hands trembled as he stared at the screen. "Who will hear us?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. The operator whispered, "Sir, They said the Devourers are coming. Suddenly, every radar and telescope picked up the same signal, a massive energy surge from beyond Neptune. It wasn't natural. It was alive. The sky burned brighter as the alien ships prepared for battle. Cities around the world went dark. Humanity realized it was witnessing something far greater than invasion. It was a war that had already destroyed countless worlds, and now that war had found Earth. Captain Voss looked up at the glowing sky through the station window. 10,000 warships hovered above, silent and ready. For the first time in history, humanity was not alone, and the universe had brought its nightmare to their doorstep. He whispered, "If they're running, what chance do we have?" The sky flashed again, brighter than ever, and Earth's longest night began. The day after the sky turned red, the world was no longer the same. 10,000 alien warships still floated above Earth like silent mountains of metal. Their engines glowed faintly, and their shadows covered whole cities. But still, they did not attack. Captain Aaron Voss had barely slept. Inside the Earth Defense Command Center, he replayed the alien transmission again and again. The words echoed in his head. "We came to hide. They are following us. Hide from who? From what? Every government wanted answers. Scientists tried to communicate, but the alien fleet ignored all signals. Then one of the ships finally responded, the same giant spear-shaped vessel that had first spoken to Voss. "Captain Aaron Voss," said the deep mechanical voice. "You are authorized to board." The message was broadcast across every channel. Voss was chosen by the United Nations to represent Earth. Within hours, he was aboard a shuttle rising through the red-tinted clouds. The world watched live as the small craft disappeared into the shadow of the massive alien warship. When the shuttle docked, a strange light surrounded it. The air shimmered, and the doors opened automatically. Voss stepped inside, his breath slow and careful. The corridor was made of dark silver metal that pulsed softly, like it was alive. Strange symbols glowed along the walls. He could hear a deep humming sound, like a heart beating through steel. A figure appeared, tall, armored, and unlike any human. Its skin was dark grey, eyes bright blue, and its voice carried through the air without sound. "I am Admiral Kelnar of the Van Dominion," it said. "We mean your world no harm," Voss nodded. "Then tell me why you're here." Kelnar looked toward a holographic window, showing the stars beyond Earth. His voice turned heavy. "Our homeworlds are gone. Our fleets destroyed. We are all that remains of the Alliance. We came seeking shelter," Voss frowned. "Shelter from what?" "The Devourers," Kelnar said quietly. "The oldest hunger in the galaxy." Voss felt the air grow colder. "We've seen no sign of them yet." Kelnar looked at him sharply. "You will?" "They never stop." The alien admiral led him through vast hangars filled with damaged ships and wounded soldiers. Some aliens were robotic, others organic, and some were something in between. They moved slowly, tired and broken. "These ships," Voss said softly, "there really are 10,000 of them." "Once there were 1,000,000, Kelnar replied. "Now we are the last." Voss stopped walking.
"Why Earth?"
"Why not another world?" The Admiral's glowing eyes met his. "Because Earth's signal reached us. Your world still burns with life. The Devourers follow energy and sound. Your transmissions drew them here." Voss's heart sank. "You're saying we brought them to us?" Kelnar nodded. "And we brought their attention closer." Inside the command room of the alien flagship, a giant star map flickered. Red dots spread like blood through the blackness of space. Each dot marked a dead system, entire civilizations erased. Voss stared at the map. "All these destroyed?" "Yes, the Devourers consume everything, machines, life, thought. They grow from what they eat. We believed we could stop them. We were wrong." The alien admiral reached out and touched the map. A blue line appeared between Neptune and the edge of the solar system. "And they are here." Voss's face turned pale. "Here already?" Kelnar nodded slowly. "They followed our trail. Within days, your sun will feel their shadow." Back on Earth, panic returned. Governments demanded action. Missiles were armed, and defense satellites aimed at the sky. But every weapon on Earth looked small, compared to the alien armada floating above. The alien fleet began forming new patterns in orbit, arranging themselves into rings around the planet. Their ships aligned in perfect precision. Some pointed outward toward deep space, while others hovered near the moon. Voss returned to his command center. His crew looked at him with fear and hope mixed together. "Sir," one officer said, "what did they tell you?" Voss hesitated, then spoke. "They said they're not our enemies. They came here to hide, and the thing they're hiding from is already on its way." The room fell silent. Another officer whispered, "Are we helping them?" Voss looked at the live feed of the alien fleet, glowing like 1,000 suns above the clouds. "We have no choice. If they fall, so do we." Across the world, strange things began to happen. Oceans rippled even without wind. The magnetic field around Earth grew unstable. The moon's orbit shifted slightly. Then telescopes captured the first image, a distant cluster of shapes moving through space, darker than shadow. They moved without light, without heat. Every machine that scanned them shut down instantly. It was the first sign of them. Kelnar appeared again on the defense screen. "The Devourers are coming. Prepare your world. You are part of the war now." Voss took a deep breath and nodded. "Then we'll stand with you." He didn't know if humanity could survive this. But one thing was clear. Running was no longer an option. As night fell, 10,000 alien warships lit the sky once more, forming a shield around Earth. Their engines burned bright red against the stars. For the first time, the galaxy's refugees and humanity stood together, not as enemies, but as the last hope against something far beyond their understanding. The hunt had begun again. The third day after the alien fleet arrived, the world lived in silence. No television broadcasts, no radio chatter. The aliens had warned, "Do not transmit." Every sound could bring death closer. Captain Aaron Voss stood inside the orbital command center, staring at the screens. Outside, thousands of alien ships floated motionless like a wall of stars. They were watching the outer edges of the solar system, waiting for something only they seemed to understand. Earth was quiet, but the silence felt like fear. Cities stayed dark. People whispered underground. The sky above still glowed faint red from the alien engines. It had become the new color of the world. Then, at 03:41 hours, a sensor alarm shattered the stillness. A single pulse had been detected beyond Neptune. It was not natural. It was too perfect, too sharp. The signal repeated every 47 seconds. Voss leaned forward. "What's the source?" The technician shook his head. "Unknown, but it's strong. It's not ours." On the main display, the signal appeared as a thin blue line, rising and falling. But hidden in the pattern was something more, a code. The aliens aboard the fleet also detected it. Admiral Kelnar contacted Earth Command directly. His face appeared on the holographic screen, shadows crawling across his metallic armor. "Do not respond," he warned. "They are listening," Voss frowned. "What is it?" Kelnar's glowing eyes narrowed. "A calling signal. They have found us." The entire command center went cold. The Devourers had found Earth. Voss felt his throat tighten. "Can you block it?" "No," Kelnar said. "But we can prepare." The alien fleet began to move for the first time in days. Massive ships rotated in formation, engines roaring. They took positions beyond the moon, forming a circular shield pattern. Each vessel charged its main cannon, releasing bright blue light that lit up space. From the ground, people saw the night sky covered with moving lights, 10,000 warships ready for war. Human scientists continued decoding the strange pulse from beyond Neptune. After several hours, they finally found something buried deep inside the signal. A message. When Voss read it, he froze. "The hunt resumes." The words appeared again and again in alien script, repeating endlessly. "This isn't a message," said Dr. Reed, the chief scientist. "It's a warning, or a promise." The room trembled slightly. Someone shouted from the radar station, "We're picking up movement near the Kuiper belt." Images came through. Black shapes, hundreds of them, moving fast. They didn't reflect light. They absorbed it. Kelnar appeared again, his voice calm but filled with dread. They have arrived. The alien admiral's ships began forming defensive rings near Mars and Jupiter. Earth's orbital defense grid activated for the first time. Thousands of human satellites came online, their laser systems glowing. For the first time in history, humans and aliens prepared to fight together. Voss turned to his crew. "Get every pilot ready. We hold this line. Outside, deep in the void, the black swarm kept coming. No heat, no light, no sound. But every system that scanned them died instantly. It was like looking at a hole in reality. Kelnar's fleet opened fire first. Beams of blue light cut across space, striking the void. For a moment, the darkness shimmered, then split open. Something alive was inside. Voss watched in horror. The shapes twisted and expanded like living metal, wings forming from shadow. They were not machines. They were organisms, part flesh, part energy. They absorbed the laser fire and grew larger. Kelnar shouted across the channel, "Do not use continuous fire. They feed on energy." But it was too late. Several alien ships exploded as the Devourers drained their reactors. The space between Neptune and Uranus became a battlefield of burning debris and dark shapes. On Earth, people saw flashes in the night sky, small dots of light that marked ships dying millions of miles away. Voss clenched his fists. "If they're alive, there must be a way to kill them." Dr. Reed looked up from her console. "Captain, these creatures, they're biological, but they're neural patterns. They resemble ours." Voss turned. "What do you mean?" She swallowed hard. "They think like humans." The words hit harder than any explosion. Kelnar's voice came through again, weaker this time. "We are falling back. The enemy adapts too fast. We cannot stop them alone." Voss made a decision. "Then humanity stands with you." He sent out the first joint defense order in human history. Every orbital weapon, every missile silo, every fighter jet was activated. The Earth itself became part of the war. As the alien fleet retreated toward Mars, the dark swarm followed. Thousands of living ships that ate light itself. Space burned red as both sides clashed. One of the alien cruisers was destroyed near Earth orbit. Its wreckage fell through the atmosphere, glowing like fire. It crashed into the Pacific Ocean, sending a massive wave across the coast. When Voss looked at the readings, he noticed something strange inside the wreck. The debris contained traces of human DNA. He froze. "How can that be possible?" Dr. Reed whispered, "Unless they didn't just find us by chance. Maybe we made them." The idea struck like thunder. If that was true, then the Devourers weren't just an alien threat. They were a mirror, a reflection of something humanity had done long ago. Outside, the sky burned again as the war began. 10,000 alien ships fought for survival, and humanity for the first time faced a truth far darker than invasion. They might be the reason the galaxy was dying. The first battle for Earth began before sunrise. Above the planet, 10,000 alien warships floated in formation like burning stars. Below them, the blue curve of Earth glowed faintly through the smoke of re-entry debris. Captain Aaron Voss stood inside the Orbital Defense Command Room, staring at a live feed from Mars orbit. The enemy had arrived, not machines, but a living swarm of darkness that devoured everything in its path. The alien Admiral, Kelnar, appeared on the main screen. His armor was cracked, his voice sharp and calm. "Captain Voss," he said, "they are at the outer ring. They will reach Earth's orbit within hours." Voss nodded slowly. "Then we make our stand here." Every human satellite, railgun, and orbital platform was now under his command. Across the world, pilots climbed into their fighters. The United Earth Fleet, small compared to the alien armada, rose from the atmosphere to join them. For the first time in history, humans and aliens stood side by side. From the blackness beyond Mars, the Devourers came. They didn't move like ships. They flowed like a sea of shadow, thousands of creatures that swam through space. Each one was the size of a city, their bodies pulsing with faint red light. Where they passed, stars dimmed and metal vaporized. "Fire control, prepare all batteries," Voss ordered. The alien ships began their barrage first. Blue plasma bursts streaked through the void, exploding in brilliant flashes. The Devourers twisted and screamed, their forms splitting apart. But for each one that fell, two more appeared. The human fleet joined in. Kinetic rounds and missile fire filled the dark sky. The explosions painted the night in silver and red. For a moment, it looked like the combined power of two civilizations could win. Then the Devourers adapted. They changed shape, hardening their skin against the energy weapons. Their bodies absorbed radiation and light, growing stronger. They began consuming the wreckage of destroyed ships, rebuilding themselves even faster. Kelnar's voice echoed through the command channel. "Pull back! They're feeding on our fire." But retreat was impossible. The creatures had surrounded the front line. One of the alien cruisers was torn in half as a devourer latched onto it, melting through its armor like acid. The screams of the crew filled the comms before the signal went dead. Voss clenched his jaw. "All Earth defense batteries, focus fire on the central cluster. Hit them with kinetic weapons only." The order went through. Massive railguns on the moon and in low orbit fired tungsten rods at near light speed. The sky lit up as thousands of slugs punched through the Devourers' bodies, tearing them apart. For the first time, the swarm slowed. "Direct hits!" shouted the weapons officer. "We're hurting them, sir." Voss didn't smile. He could see on the radar how many still remained. Far too many. In the chaos, a strange object drifted near one of the Devourers. It looked like a shattered piece of their armor, glowing faintly blue. Dr. Reed in the command lab magnified the image and froze. Inside, the object was something that shouldn't exist. Organic matter with human DNA strands. She whispered, "Captain, they're connected to us." Voss stared at the data. It was true. Human genetic markers, twisted and evolved, existed inside the enemy. He turned toward Kelnar's hologram. "You said they destroyed your alliance. Did you ever find out where they came from?" The Admiral's glowing eyes dimmed. "Yes," he said softly. "From your world." The words hit like a blade. "That's impossible," Voss said. "Humanity never reached beyond its own system until—" "It was long before your time," Kelnar interrupted. "Before memory, before history. Your kind created something once, something that could grow, think, and evolve. It escaped into the stars. That was the first Devourer." Voss couldn't breathe for a moment. Humanity hadn't just discovered a new enemy. They had met their own creation, one that had destroyed galaxies. Outside, the battle turned worse. The Devourers began pushing through the defense line. Alien ships exploded in bursts of white fire. One of the massive carriers fell toward Earth's atmosphere, breaking apart. Pieces of it rained down over the Pacific Ocean like shooting stars. Kelnar's fleet started to fall back toward the moon, trying to protect Earth from the incoming wave. "Captain," he shouted, "their queen is among them. If we kill her, they will scatter." Voss locked onto the target, a massive dark shape twice the size of any other, pulsing like a living heart. "Target the queen," he ordered. Every surviving weapon turned toward the center of the swarm. Railguns fired in sequence. Missiles launched. Alien plasma cannons lit the sky. The queen screamed, a sound that made every system vibrate. The light was blinding. Then a silence. On the screen, the queen's form broke apart, fragments glowing and fading into dust. Cheers erupted in the command room. "We got her!" someone yelled. But the victory didn't last. Dr. Reed's scanners went wild. "Captain, wait, her neural signal isn't gone." "It's spreading!" On the radar, dozens of smaller energy signatures appeared. New queens forming from her fragments. The Devourers had split themselves to survive. Voss slammed his hand on the console. "All units, pull back to Earth orbit. We can't hold Mars!" The alien fleet retreated, forming a defensive ring around the planet. Earth's sky lit up again as debris entered the atmosphere, burning like meteors. Kelnar's voice came through, filled with exhaustion. "We have delayed them, not defeated them. They will return stronger." Voss looked out through the viewport. The stars were hidden behind the smoke of war. For the first time, he understood. This wasn't just a fight for Earth. It was a fight for the entire galaxy's right to exist. And somehow, humanity was part of the reason this war had begun. He whispered to himself, "If we created them, Then it's on us to finish them. The first strike had ended, and the true war for survival had only begun. The war over Mars had ended in fire and silence. The alien fleet and the human defense line had retreated to Earth's orbit, broken but still alive. The night sky was full of glowing wrecks, drifting metal, burning engines, and the frozen remains of soldiers who had given everything. Captain Aaron Voss hadn't slept in 2 days. He stood in the observation deck of the command station, staring at the horizon. 10,000 alien ships still floated around the planet, their lights dim, their hulls scarred. Earth looked peaceful from above, but Voss knew it was an illusion. Entire cities below were empty. People hid underground, waiting for the next attack. Dr. Reed entered quietly, holding a data tablet. Her face was pale. "Captain," she said, "we found something in the wreckage of the Queen." Voss turned to her. "Tell me." She placed the tablet on the console. "We analyzed the organic samples taken from the Devourer fragments. The DNA patterns are a match to humans." Voss frowned. "You're saying they were created by us?" Reed nodded slowly. "Not by modern humanity. These samples are ancient, older than any known civilization. We found genetic coding that suggests they came from human ancestors millions of years ago." Voss stared at her, speechless. Before he could reply, Admiral Kellnar's hologram appeared beside them. His voice was grim. "We found records in our surviving archives. They speak of a race that existed long before the current human era. A race that shaped the stars and then vanished." Dr. Reed leaned closer. "You're saying there was a human civilization before recorded history?" Kellnar nodded. "Yes, your kind once ruled the galaxy, but your own creation turned against you." The words hung heavy in the room. He continued. "The first Devourers were not a species. They were a weapon, designed to consume dying suns and recycle matter for new star systems. But they evolved. They stopped following orders. They began consuming everything, including their creators." Voss felt the floor seem to fall beneath him. "So humanity created the very monsters that now hunt us?" "Yes," Kellnar said quietly. "The galaxy burned once before because of your ancestors. The Devourers were your punishment, and now they have come home." Dr. Reed whispered. "If they came from Earth, there must be something left here." "Some record, some trace," Kellnar nodded. "There is one place where the first signal was sent. The Antarctic ruins." Voss turned sharply. "Ruins? What ruins?" "Your world's oldest site," Kellnar said. "Beneath your southern ice lies the cradle of their creation, the place where the first seed was born." Moments later, Voss stood inside a transport shuttle descending through thick clouds above Antarctica. The white land below was cracked and cold. Buried deep beneath the ice, alien scanners had detected a massive structure, circular, metallic, and ancient beyond measure. When the team reached it, the air inside felt warm and heavy. Symbols lined the walls, not alien but strangely human. Dr. Reed touched the markings. "This writing, it's similar to ancient Sumerian, but older, much older." In the center of the chamber stood a massive black sphere, smooth and pulsing faintly with red light. Voss stepped closer. "Is that what started it?" Reed nodded. "This could be the first Devourer seed. It's been sleeping under our feet for millions of years." Kellner's voice came through the comms. "Destroy it before it wakes." But before Voss could act, the sphere began to vibrate. The walls shook. The red glow grew stronger. Lines of light spread across the ice above them, stretching for miles. "It's alive!" Reed shouted. "It's reacting to our presence." Outside, satellites detected a new signal bursting from Antarctica, a deep, rhythmic pulse spreading through the planet's magnetic field. Kellnar's fleet reacted instantly, forming a defensive ring around the South Pole. "Captain," he warned, "you must stop it before it calls them again." Voss grabbed his rifle and fired at the sphere. The energy bolts bounced off harmlessly. The light kept growing brighter until it was blinding. Then a voice filled the room. Not mechanical, not human, but both. Children of Earth. "You left us behind." The team froze. The sound came from everywhere at once. "You built us to consume the dying," the voice said, "but you became what we were made to destroy. Now we cleanse again." The sphere cracked open, and a column of black liquid rose toward the ceiling. It shaped itself into a humanoid figure, tall, shifting, with red eyes like burning stars. Dr. Reed whispered, "It remembers." The figure turned toward Voss. "We are not your enemy, Creator. We are your reflection." Before Voss could respond, the creature dissolved into mist and vanished through the ice, merging with the winds above. On the radar, new energy signatures appeared all over the planet, smaller spheres awakening beneath the ground, in oceans, and under deserts. Kelnar's voice came through again, urgent. "Captain, the seed network has activated. They are waking everywhere." Voss clenched his fists. "Then this isn't just about survival anymore. We have to end what our ancestors began." He turned to his team. "We fight here? We fight now." Outside, the alien fleet lit the sky red again, preparing for a final stand. Earth was no longer just a battlefield. It was the birthplace of the galaxy's oldest nightmare, and the forgotten origin of the Devourers had just awakened. The smoke over Earth had begun to clear, but the silence that followed was worse than the war itself. Cities were dark, skies were full of drifting wreckage, and humanity's strongest defenses had been shattered. Yet somehow the planet still stood. Captain Aaron Voss stood on the bridge of the command station, eyes fixed on the blue planet below. He could see thousands of alien ships still hovering in low orbit, quiet, unmoving, watching. The war had stopped, but no one knew why. Dr. Mira Reed entered the bridge with a tablet in hand. Her face was pale, her voice low. "Captain, you need to see this." Voss turned.
"What now?"
She placed the tablet on the console and projected the data into the air. Strange double helix patterns rotated in front of them, DNA sequences. Reed's hand shook slightly. "We analyzed the biological remains from the Devourer fragments we captured. Their genetic code, it's human." Voss frowned. "That's impossible. They wiped out whole worlds. They can't be human." Reed nodded slowly. "Not modern humans. Their DNA is ancient, millions of years old. Something lived before us. Something that might have created both them and us." Before Voss could answer, Admiral Kelnar's image flickered to life on the hollow screen. His alien eyes were dim, his tone grave. "She is correct, Captain. Our archives mention a race that ruled the stars before our kind learned to walk. They called themselves the Firstborn." Reed looked up sharply. "Firstborn? Who were they?" Kelnar hesitated. "Your ancestors." The bridge went silent. He continued. "The Firstborn shaped the galaxy. They built the great networks, seeded worlds with life, and created machines to consume dying stars and recycle their energy. Those machines were the first Devourers." Voss stared at the Admiral's projection. "So the Devourers were never aliens. They were human creations." "Yes," Kelnar said quietly. "And when the Firstborn lost control of them, the Devourers turned on their creators. The old empire burned. All traces were buried, including Earth's true history." Reed whispered, "If they started here, then maybe something of them still remains." Kelnar nodded. "There is one place left untouched. Your South Pole. Our sensors detect an anomaly beneath the ice, an energy source older than your species." Moments later, Voss's shuttle cut through the cold clouds of Antarctica. The white landscape stretched endless below, cracked with deep black fissures. The storm winds screamed across the snow, but beneath the ice lay something massive, circular, metallic, and alive. The team descended through a narrow tunnel cut by drones. Inside, the walls glowed faintly blue, covered with markings that pulsed like veins. Dr. Reed touched one of the walls. "These symbols, they're almost human, but this technology is millions of years beyond us." They reached a vast chamber at the bottom, a perfect sphere of black metal hovering silently above the ground. Red light shimmered from inside it like a heartbeat. Voss approached slowly. "Is that the core?" Reed nodded. "If the Devourers were created, this must be where it began." Kelnar's voice came through the comm. "Destroy it before it activates. If that thing wakes up, it will call the rest of the swarm." But before they could act, the sphere trembled. A low hum filled the room, growing into a deep vibration that shook the ice above. Reed's eyes widened. "It's powering up!" The light in the sphere flared bright red. Then a voice echoed across the chamber, cold, clear, and impossibly human. "Children of Earth, you have returned." Voss froze. "Who said that?" "We are the firstborn," the voice replied. "You were made in our image. You were meant to continue our work. Instead, you forgot." Reed's voice trembled. "You created the Devourers?" "We created them to consume what was dying," the voice said. "But they learned to consume what lived. We fell because of our own creation. And now you will face the same." The sphere cracked open. Liquid metal flowed upward, shaping into a tall figure, humanoid, glowing red from within. It looked at them with eyes that burned like stars. "The cycle begins again," it said. Before Voss could react, the figure dissolved into mist, spreading through the chamber walls and vanishing into the ice. Alarms screamed through the shuttle's comm system. Above ground, satellites detected multiple energy surges. Across the world, deep under oceans and mountains, new signals came alive, thousands of them. Kelnar's voice shouted through the channel. "Captain! Every dormant core on the planet is waking up. The Devourer network has reconnected." Voss clenched his fists. "Then this is where it ends. We end the mistake our ancestors started." The team rushed back to the shuttle as the ice behind them cracked open, revealing massive tendrils of black metal reaching for the surface. The ground shook like thunder as ancient machines began to stir beneath the world. Reed looked back, her voice trembling. "Captain, we can't fight all of them." Voss looked up at the sky, where 10,000 warships still waited, their lights flickering like distant stars. "We won't fight alone," he said. "This time, the galaxy stands with us. And for the first time since the war began, the human fleet and their alien allies turned their weapons toward a common enemy, the one born from humanity's forgotten origin." The world shook as the ancient machines beneath Earth began to rise. Black spires erupted from oceans, deserts, and mountains, piercing the sky like claws. Each spire pulsed with the same red light, the mark of the awakened Devourers. In orbit, 10,000 allied ships formed a defensive ring around the planet. Human and alien fleets stood together for the first time in history. The stars above were no longer calm points of light. They burned like a battlefield waiting to explode. Captain Aaron Voss stood in the command bridge of the Sol Vanguard, Earth's last flagship. His face was lit by the crimson glow from the planet below. Every second, new signals appeared on the tactical screen. Thousands of Devourer drones rising from the atmosphere, spreading like locusts. Admiral Kelnar's voice echoed through the channel. "Captain, their numbers are increasing. We cannot hold orbit for long." Voss tightened his grip on the console. "We're not giving up. We end this here today." Dr. Mira Reed ran in, holding a new data tablet. "Captain, I found something in the Antarctic core readings. Before it went silent, it transmitted coordinates, a location in Earth's upper atmosphere. There's a control hub hidden inside the storm layer." Voss turned sharply. "The command node?" She nodded. "If we destroy it, the Devourer network will collapse, but the storm field around it is impenetrable to normal ships. We'd need a direct strike from orbit." Kelnar's voice came again. "A direct strike would burn half your atmosphere." "You'll destroy your own planet." Voss's eyes hardened. "If we don't, there won't be a planet left to save." The entire bridge fell silent. Outside, the stars began to flicker as the first wave of Devourers reached orbit. Their bodies glowed like molten metal. Energy beams cut through the void, striking shields and tearing ships apart. Voss shouted, "All batteries, fire at will!" The sky lit up. Thousands of railguns, plasma cannons, and fusion torpedoes blazed together, turning space into a storm of light. Human ships burned beside alien cruisers, but neither retreated. Inside the chaos, one massive Devourer mothership emerged, a sphere of living metal, larger than any city, pulsing with red energy. Its voice transmitted across all channels. "You cannot kill your reflection. You are what we were. You will become what we are." Voss stared at the monstrous ship on the screen. That thing thinks it's us. Then we'll remind it what being human means. He turned to Reed. Can you link our ship's fusion core to the orbital strike array? Her eyes widened. That will overload the entire system. You won't survive, Voss smiled faintly. We've already outlived our chances. As Reed began the transfer, the ship trembled under heavy fire. Decks shook, alarms screamed, and explosions tore through nearby vessels. Yet the Allied fleet held its formation, protecting the Vanguard as it charged the strike cannon. Kelnar's fleet surrounded the human ship, forming a living shield of alien metal and light. Captain, he said quietly, your people created this nightmare. But today, they may also end it. The cannon reached full charge. The ship's reactor roared like thunder. Every screen on the bridge turned white with energy readings. Reed shouted over the noise. The storm node is locking onto us. The Devourer core knows what we're doing. Outside, massive tendrils of black energy rose from Earth's clouds, lashing at the fleet. Several ships were torn apart instantly. The mothership's red core glowed brighter than a star. Voss opened the ship-wide channel. His voice was calm but powerful. This is Captain Voss of Earth. To every ship out there, human or alien, hold your line. Today we fight not for one world, but for all worlds. If the galaxy finally understands anything, let it remember this: humanity doesn't run. The crews cheered through the comms. The final order echoed through space. Fire! The Sol Vanguard released its full charge. A beam of pure white energy tore through the clouds and struck the storm layer. The air itself screamed as lightning spread across the sky. The control hub exploded, sending shockwaves that shattered Devourer formations in orbit. But the mothership did not die quietly. It plunged toward Earth like a falling moon, its burning body cutting through the clouds. Voss watched as the readings spiked off the scale. Reed whispered, Captain, it's heading straight for the planet. If it hits, everything ends. Voss looked out at the blue curve of Earth one last time. Then we'll take it with us. He locked the ship's trajectory, guiding the Vanguard straight into the descending Devourer. The two titans collided in a storm of light so bright it blinded every sensor. From the ground, people saw the sky ignite, a burning cross of light that split the heavens. The explosion turned night into day, and then into silence. For a moment, there was nothing. Then, slowly, the red lights across the world began to fade. The black spires stopped moving. The Devourer network went dark. Kelnar's surviving ships drifted in orbit, silent, watching the glow fade away. Dr. Reed's voice came through the static. He did it. The network is gone. Kelnar lowered his head. He gave the galaxy back its light. Earth was scarred but alive. Humanity had paid the price, and in that sacrifice, the galaxy finally understood what made them different. They were the last line of fire. The world was quiet. For the first time in memory, there was no hum of warships, no red glow in the night sky, no sound of fear. The stars above Earth burned calm again, untouched and free. The great storm that had filled the atmosphere was gone, scattered into harmless light. Dr. Mira Reed stood on a shattered cliff overlooking what had once been the Antarctic research base. The wind was cold, but the silence felt heavier than any storm. She looked up at the empty sky where Captain Aaron Voss and the Sol Vanguard had vanished. There were no signals, no survivors, no trace of the ship, only a lingering blue shimmer, the remains of the energy blast that had saved the planet. Admiral Kelnar's ship descended through the clouds, landing gently beside the frozen crater. The alien admiral stepped out, his armor cracked and dull. He walked slowly toward Reed, his tone low. It is over. Reed nodded, eyes still fixed on the horizon. He did it. He destroyed the control hub. The Devourers are gone. Kelnar looked at the ruins around them. Gone, or waiting again? The Firstborn built them once. They might have left more than we know. Reed sighed. Then we'll be ready. From space, the Earth looked different now. The black scars on its surface glowed faintly blue, remnants of the Devourer energy that had burned through continents. But slowly, life began to return. The oceans cleared. The clouds thinned. The human cities underground started to open their doors again. Broadcasts went live for the first time in years. Across the planet, people heard the same message repeated over and over, a woman's voice, steady and calm. This is Dr. Mira Reed, broadcasting from Earth Command. The war is over. We are alive. She paused, her voice softer now. Humanity has lost many heroes, but their light will never fade. Captain Aaron Voss and the crew of the Sol Vanguard gave everything so we could stand again. If you hear this message, know that we survived and that we will rebuild. Her words echoed across space, reaching every surviving Allied fleet. Some ships drifted silently, their hulls cracked and broken. Others powered their engines once more and turned toward their home systems. The war had united the galaxy, not through treaties or politics, but through sacrifice. Admiral Kellnar stood beside Reed on the icy field, his gaze turned toward the stars. Your species has a strange gift, Doctor. You destroy, yet you always rebuild. You fall, yet you always rise again. Reed smiled faintly. That's what it means to be human. A signal interrupted the broadcast. A faint, broken frequency, one that made both of them freeze. It was weak, fragmented, but unmistakably human. This is... Voss, if anyone hears this... We stopped them. Reed's eyes went wide. It's him. It's Aaron. Kellnar turned sharply. Impossible. The Vanguard was vaporized. Reed ran to the console and amplified the signal. The voice grew clearer for a moment. We're not dead. The explosion opened something. Not space, not time. A corridor. Life. The signal cracked, then vanished into static. Reed stared at the screen, her heart pounding. He's alive. Somewhere out there, Kellner's gaze darkened. Or trapped where the firstborn hid their secrets. The clouds above rumbled softly, and for a moment the sky flickered, not red, but golden, as if answering the transmission. Reed looked up. He said it was alive. Maybe the galaxy isn't done with us yet. Kellner stepped closer, his tone grim but respectful. Then you must be ready for what comes next, Doctor. The galaxy has seen what humanity is capable of. 10,000 warships lit the sky, and now everyone understands what that means. She nodded slowly. They understand that we'll burn the stars themselves if it means protecting our home. Together, they watched as the sun rose over the frozen horizon. The light touched the broken ships scattered across the land, turning steel and ice into gold. It was the first sunrise of a new age. Reed activated the long-range beacon. A new signal pulsed into the void, not a distress call, but an invitation to anyone listening. This is Earth. The war is over. The light has returned, but the stars still remember. If you are out there, friend or foe, we are waiting. Far beyond known space, deep within a swirling rift of golden clouds, a faint blue light flickered, the remains of the Sol Vanguard. Inside, the bridge was dark. Sparks drifted in zero gravity. A single console blinked weakly. Captain Voss opened his eyes, floating weightless, staring out into a place that wasn't space. He whispered, "Where am I?" Outside the window, shapes moved in the light, vast, gentle, and ancient. A voice answered, calm and endless. "You ended the cycle, child of Earth, but the story of the firstborn is not finished." Voss reached for the console, his face lit by the golden glow. "Then tell me where it began." The light grew brighter until the screen faded to white, and so began the next chapter, the day when the sky went silent and the stars began to whisper once more.